Maybe they know of an impending pandemic that's about to strike.
John, Eric Min is biting bats. Moo and good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pink John. I'm Steve Pritchard, and with me tonight, let's start with Sean Fogenberg. What are you drinking?
Me. I've got a couple of things. I've got a Trader Joe's mango juice. We'll see how that is, and also a Fort Point Beer Company's Fizio Italian Pilsner.
Very nice. John Keenan, the retired John Keenan, a man of leisure who's just always drinking now, from what I've heard.
The
But
man of leisure,
what
yes.
are you drinking now, John?
I'm having a leisurely cup of tea currently in the afternoon of my career.
Nice one. And also, Craig Martin. Hi. BMX hung on the wall now. The room comes together.
It does. That's been there for a while. But yes, I have a Tickle Fight IPA from Half Cut Brewing Company
Nice. And
because
finally,
we're half
Steph
cut by.
Etienne. Oh, no. And last but not least, Steph Etienne. How about you?
Have some ginger ale from Canada Dry.
Oh, well, speaking of things that are a bit spicy, like a ginger ale, what have we got this week in HSRL? It's UCI Worlds in Innsbruck, isn't it? So we have a spicy com, followed by an even spicier com, followed by a double point sprint. Won't that be fun? Craig, you raced race one. Tell us more about the course and how the race went.
I'm not even sure. No, so yeah, we had a pretty good group. I think in Zwift it was 28 in game, and what should I see on Zwift Power? Yeah, 21 finishers, five didn't finish. So yeah, actually almost everybody was on Zwift Power. So no, it was good. The climb was hard. Um, we were sorry, I just switched screens. Yeah, so on the KOM we were 24 minutes, 24 and change. Um,
That's pretty quick.
that was quite quick. Uh, three of us were at 61 seconds on the leg snapper. Um, yep, that was fast.
That's pretty spicy. So to go through the route, it's the standard UCI Worlds short course, I think it's called.
Mhm.
It is World's Course Short Lap. There we go.
Yeah.
It will be a fairly gentle start because everyone knows they've got an FTP test coming up. Then you go up the Innsbruck Com, down the Innsbruck Com, hit the leg snapper, round to the sprint, which is worth double points for fastest through segment. So it's 100 for first place rather than 50, and then over the line. Um, yeah, FTP test. Well, unless you're maybe sort of high B's A's will do it sub 20. But yeah, FTP test of a climb, isn't it?
Well, so yeah, I got a +6 on my FTP from or my EFTP from intervals. So yeah,
Nice. Interesting bike choice tonight, though, isn't it? I think with this one.
um,
I think it's pretty straightforward personally.
I think so too.
I think you go with the if you've got it, you go with the specialized SL8 with
Yep.
the new wheels, which we'll
Yep.
probably talk about later.
Yep. And I think yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Um, so the counterplay would be if you're a superior climber in your category to go with the Tron. Um, and because both the leg snapper is fast enough that the Tron is at least equal, and then you've got the bike for both the finish and the sprint, both of which are double points. Or
But you probably got to be quite a bit stronger climber to make the Tron to drag the now heavy Tron up that climb.
Yeah, so when I threw my stats into Zwifter bikes, um, it came out to 5 seconds slower for the whole route.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I don't know.
I'm never sure how much I trust those sort of things because you're going to be in the draft quite a lot of this. I mean, I guess unless you decide to gap somebody on the climb or you get caught by the group ahead of you, if that makes sense, the category ahead of you, and can stay with them over the climb and down the bottom. You're not going to get 5, 10 seconds up the road and then try and go solo, are you, on this? Because you want to be in the draft for leg snapper and the sprint, surely.
Yeah, so I was out front and I sat up. I guess. I don't think I could have stayed away because there was a group of three behind me with two Bs. Um, but I mean, when I look at the way the KOM forward went, I won it by 9 seconds. I don't know if the Tron is 9 seconds slower. So counterplay, I don't tail gun by 10 seconds.
Mm.
And I I play it normal. If I put in roughly the same power, I'm right in that 24-15 range, and then I have the better bike for the finish line. So yeah, it's there. I do think the main play is the SL8 and the new DT Swiss wheels, but
Surely someone's got to try like a mega climber bike and bike change at the top there, Greg. Like it's
Yeah, I was about to say,
Totally.
climb a bike up and then switch to the Tron
yeah.
Yeah.
at the top.
Having being devil's advocating my own devil's advocating, I think the challenge with Innsbruck is it's not that steep
Yeah,
as a climb. Maybe on the reverse,
yeah.
like that, maybe with the steeper segments on the reverse, you'd open up enough for the climber, but even then, I'd be all-rounder bike for this kind of course because it's mostly like there's so much more of your time riding is on the flat or downhill than it is up the hill, isn't it? So, how long did you take, Craig, out of interest?
well, no, so it's uh, so I took 45. So yeah, it's more than half of your time is on the
Mm.
climb, is on the one climb. So yeah, most of your time is climbing. So I think for D's, I think it's definitely SL8 if you've got it. Probably best climbing bike, best all around wheels if for the D's because they're going to spend more time climbing. So they're going to be going slower while doing it. So yeah, that the lighter bike becomes more.
John, Steph, Sean, do you plan to race this weekend?
Yeah, I'm
I'm
gonna race too.
I'm on
Go
the
ahead.
fence. I would love to, in particular because I'm feeling really fit right now. And it would be nice to get that race in. But I'm also, and maybe we'll talk about this later, I'm considering doing a crit next weekend that I might want to take some time this week and like over the weekend off to let my legs recover a bit from the last month of actually being on it. So we'll see.
John, being retired, I imagine your answer is you're going to race all six events now.
Yeah, no, that's the plan, right? Just stream my day the whole time. Yeah, I've been feeling really out of it. partly because I'm starting to do, I'm watching my carbs as an old person. Managed to lose 5 kilos in about 2 weeks, which I didn't have to spare. And my doctor was like, no, 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 we need to not do that. So yeah, it's a challenge right now. We'll figure it out, but I just put in my new weight, so we'll see how that goes on the climb.
That'll
Yeah,
help. That'll help a
Five
lot.
kilo, yeah, 5 kilos up a climb is
generally
good.
kind of safe dieting is meant to be a kilo a week, isn't it? Or
I
two
think
pounds a
so,
week.
yeah, yeah, and it's not safe. Yeah, we've adjusted things, so I'm like basically stuffing my face full of food every meal, which is interesting. It's just keeping the carbs down and trying to do that is a bit of a
Hmm.
juggling act.
How about you, Steph?
Also tempted because it's a climb I kind of like, more Tempe climb, but we'll see. Uh, Weekends is always, especially now in summer, for bigger outdoor rides, and
Oh, nice.
especially it's kind of doable still. It's like below 30 Celsius, like on Tuesday, and on Wednesday it's going more into the Sean's temperature is at around 35, 36 degrees. It's predicted, which is insane for here in Belgium.
Yeah, for people who are not Northern European, all of our houses are designed for it being cold, so they're very, very good at keeping heat in.
Mm.
Yeah.
Less good when it is warm outside. So Steph will be turning into a puddle of goo at some point next week, I think.
As a
Um,
Canadian, if your house is really well designed for keeping heat in, it's also well designed for keeping heat out. So I think it's not well enough designed for heat management.
yeah. Um, so yes, I'll be doing race 6, I think. I've been enjoying those last few weeks.
Yeah.
So a little Sunday afternoon ride here, which should be good. I suspect I've been on a bit of run of forms, but I suspect I'll get beaten up on Sunday because I do not go up hills at the moment.
I'm going to
Uh,
predict that you go way better than you think you're going to and end up in C next week.
Yay!
down vote, down vote. Steph, I'm going to skip over the Bologna climbing because I feel like we've spoken about that a lot.
Yep.
It's Bologna, go climb it. We've got about 3 days left to do it.
Yeah.
There was a chat which Brent hasn't answered about what next month's challenge is going to be, but we can announce that Steph is on holiday, so it will probably be slightly less evil than something Steph would have thought of.
We've got two other things to talk about. Herd Beginner Racing is on TikTok, as it normally is at the end of the month.
Nice.
And I thought we should probably mention, sorry, 1 second. We've got the TTT sign up. We have Deuce France for TTT. So that is one of the classic TTT courses that starts through Les Intestines, and then you've got all the flat for the rest. So stay together at the beginning and then go, go, go.
I had a very nice TTT experience, also with Craig, with the Herd of Ruse on Thursday. That was, yeah, super fun. Although I did discover there's my new Zwift cog and virtual shifting is slightly glitchy. So I got stuck at zero point 0.8 watts per kilogram, having done a turn, and was out the saddle sprinting and stayed at zero point 0.8 watts per kilogram and got spat out the back, which was a bit annoying. But yeah, really good fun. Listening in on the guys on Discord because I was pretending to be in another meeting. But yeah, really good fun. Sign up to the TTT.
Yeah.
Shall we head on to the news? We need a theme tune for the news.
We do
Sean,
need
sing
a
it.
theme for the news, but we have a lot of news this week. We'll leave the important stuff to the end. We have Garmin releases the Tax Alpine Gradient Simulator because everybody was using the Wahoo climb. Such a critical accessory for everyone who has a Wahoo trainer. I know no one who uses one, even people who own one. So yeah, that's yeah. I question this, but
Philippe had one, and the only thing that I remember from as a story from that, he never was talking about how great it was. It was the fact that it broke mid-sprint one time during a ZRL race.
yeah. Well, I mean, Philippe is a heck of a sprinter, so there's probably a lot of stress going through that. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yes, I don't think this is I'm very surprised by this. I do not understand Garmin Tax coming out with this.
And at a price point that's like well above even the other ones.
So
Yeah.
I think they answer the question better. So that I don't know if either of you have tried the Wahoo Riser, but it
I have.
basically locks you in, and nobody ever has cycled up a steep incline with their front wheel perfectly straight.
Yeah.
We've probably all paperboyed up a climb, right? So it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's not that realistic. It just feels a bit weird. So tax have done a bit of left to right movement and a bit of sway, but if I'm reading my dollars correctly, at the same price you can buy the Zwift bike for. So it's hella pricey.
It is very pricey. I mean, the kicker climb and the elite riser that I forgot existed. They are both also very pricey for, the utility they give you. Um, anyway, Tax now has joined the club and has a gadget that will raise and lower the front of your bike for you.
Maybe they know of an impending pandemic that's about to strike that we
I
don't know about yet.
I don't know. But yeah, maybe there'll
Min
be
has been
lots of
biting bats. That's what we've heard from you, John. Eric Min is biting bats, releasing them in San Francisco. That's where Zwift are,
There's
isn't
your
it? Like,
show title right
Yeah.
that's
there.
like
Honestly, I think that if there was an industry that was to really wish that the global pandemic was back, I think it might be the cycling industry.
Yeah,
well,
the indoor cycling.
certainly indoor cycling, but actually no, cycling in general. You're right. That was a heck of a boom. Um, yeah. So Elite announces two new trainers, Avanti and Revo. They're new trainers. They're available with a cog and click. They're Zwift ready. They have virtual shifting. If you're an Elite trainer fan, but don't have one that does virtual shifting, there you go.
Steve, was that your full review of the Zwift cog, or you got anything else to say about it?
no, I think so. Where do we go? I mean, you guys have seen some of the chat I had with Matt DeFreitas, where Matt melted my brain slightly by going, "Couldn't you just use virtual shifting on a normal cog?" Which I kind of
I have been saying this since the cog came out.
I yeah. I think the advantage the cog has is that it's low maintenance, right? It went on super easy. I don't need a new cassette. It cost me probably less than buying a cassette did.
Yeah, and if you wear
I-
it out, it's going to be super cheap. You just need one piece
well, you
to
probably have to
you
buy a
don't
new
have to
cog knowing how these things work and waste a load of plastic. But
eh,
like
maybe.
what does it allow me? It
Single
allows
speed kits exist. Single speed kits exist.
So so yeah. It also annoys Craig, which is a newfound boon, I think, of
That is
this.
a
But
plus.
Yeah.
yeah, so Zwift cog went on really easily, like much easier to fit than a cassette. Um, like very easy. Virtual shifting is super cool. But I've been struggling for several years now that because I haven't really changed my power output, just my fitness and weight that's changed more. I get into a bit of a dead zone between two gears on the current cassette I've got, where I either have to do between about 90 and 100 RPM or about 70 to 80 RPM on the gears and not much change. What's Craig, you have your hand. Are you going to talk about BMXing now?
I'm going to talk about being able to produce power efficiently at a wide variety of cadences being a good thing. Yes.
It is a good thing, yes, but there's a reason why they have compact group sets in racing as well. So yeah, I struggled a bit that kind of you'd end up just hopping between gears and not. For me, it wasn't ever it's not a going fast thing. It's more there'll be times when I'm sat in a bunch and I'm trying to do tempo and I'm just hopping. I can't find a nice tempo to sit and do the right WhatsApp. So it's like inefficient racing more than anything else. And virtual shifting just gives you a super compact group set effectively, which is super nice. Um, uh, it's pretty smooth. It's the click of a button. Every so often, my brain failed and I changed gear. I did manage to jump my chain off the cog mid-ride at one point, and have to change back and jump it back on, fortunately. But yeah, all good fun. So
There
yeah,
is the
really nice.
that's one advantage of all that plastic. If you had a single speed conversion kit, you just plop it over onto the
You
off the
did jump on
cog.
back on, but like it's the plastic housing did help. But yeah, I think the um challenge, I guess. I don't know. The challenge I have with it is due to my setup. So I'm on Apple TV, I have too many peripherals, so I now have to bridge via my phone. So if you imagine the kind of signal pathway is from the shifters to my phone to the Apple TV to the internet, which goes via power line, to the Zwift servers, back to the internet, back through the power line to the Apple TV to my phone through some Bluetooth. Like there's a lot of spaces for that something to just get a bit confused. Um, let
Steve,
alone my hands and brain as well. So
Steve, if it like build a cheap Zwift PC and run RJ45 to your shed, and your experience will be amazing.
I'm
that's
wondering if
the
you could even do a Raspberry Pi and just plug all your stuff into it, and then one Bluetooth from the Raspberry Pi to the Apple
Yeah,
TV.
just build a cheap PC. Like you
Yeah.
don't need a good PC to run Zwift really well. I'm still running on the same budget gaming computer that I bought when I first started doing the streaming in 2020. And I can't run two copies of Zwift and stream at the same time anymore, but I think that's because Zwift has bloated some. But I can still do lots with it, and it runs Zwift amazing and streams at the same time. It's not a super demanding game.
yeah, I'm kind of like I am at the point of so this is a great podcast segment in our new what used to be our kitchen there is a plan, as you can see from the sockets, to put a TV on the wall. As soon as we have the money to buy that TV, the Apple TV will come in here to power that TV, and
Mm.
then a few hundred quid. I think 200 quid would buy me a good enough micro PC or mini tower thing to just glue on the wall, and stick a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse out there and
Yeah.
problem solved. It will still have to be Bluetooth. I suppose that's the only thing I don't like about the cog and virtual shifting is it's all Bluetooth. I don't know if that's just me being a Luddite, but I feel like ANT Plus is better. Um, I'm not sure why. But, Craig is my signals expert, so I'm going to defer to him here.
So I'm gonna say I like Ant Plus for a bunch of things. I feel like when it works really well in low latency. Um, but sometimes I feel like, especially the latest version of Bluetooth, it is better, and it can keep working in situations where Ant will just fail. Um, but sometimes when it's working in those really disadvantaged environments, you get really high latency. So, and that does bad things in Zwift. But I mean, Ant Plus has basically been its obsolescence is now planned. Even Garmin has said that they are going forward with Bluetooth Low Energy in the future for the next generation. And I mean, they'll legacy support Ant Plus for a long time, I'm sure, but Bluetooth Low Energy is it is better. So yeah, I don't
So
know.
yeah,
They, I mean, they're just different protocols. They both work. They're both in. They're almost identical, really. The differences between them are really, it's mostly that Bluetooth Low Energy is used for a lot more things, and there's a lot more development behind it. So why keep doing Ant Plus when they've converged a bit?
so yeah, that was our really quick review of Bluetooth. Sorry, the Zwift Cog.
I apologize for that. You asked an electrical engineer to talk about wireless protocols.
What else have we got in the news, Craig?
So
New
we've got
wheel.
the Zwift
I've got
road
a bit inside.
construction time. So we have a Zwift road construction
Let's do
timeline.
that last because that's not going to be at all controversial.
Oh,
And
you want the controversial one first?
yeah, but, well,
Okay.
the new roads will be controversial, I think. So, we talk new wheels.
Let's talk new wheels. DT Swiss wheels. There are two new wheel sets in Zwift. They have once again introduced absolute overdog new equipment in Zwift. So there is a new fastest wheel set, fastest all-rounder wheel set, and fastest full aero wheel set. The Arc 1100 die cut 85 disc wheel set, which is now the fastest wheel set after the Rainbow disc took over from the old DT Swiss disc wheel set. And there's a die cut 65 non-disc wheel set that is now both the fastest. It is both now the fastest non-disc and better climbing than the NV78s.
Which is easy for you to say.
Is it? That took some effort.
Yeah, so level
Also,
29 for the all-rounders, level 40 for the discs. So a bit of work to get them. Like,
Yeah. Million drops for the disc and 650,000 for the other ones. And they're both, if you can get them right away. They are the best right now. There is a history of sometimes new things who are overdog being nerfed afterwards, but for now, these are awesome.
yeah, this is quite. I mean, the Canyon Air Road was the massively OP bike that came in and then got slightly nerfed, didn't it, with other things, and then
Yeah.
yeah,
Although with the big reshuffle, actually, if you don't mind me talking about this for a second, this
is
kind
it
of came
Bluetooth?
out when somebody asked me about or asked about things on a forum, and I responded. Um, the Aero 2024 is absolutely the thing that a new Zwifter that's interested in racing should go for right away. Because it's the fastest bike or the most aero bike that isn't a Halo bike, and you can get it at level 10. So yeah, you can get it even probably before you get the Tron bike, even if you're going full in trying to get the Tron right away. So yeah, while it isn't as good a climber as it was when it was first introduced, it is, available at level 10, and it is legitimately a bike that is an option for somebody that has availability of every bike. So
I think you've missed out the most exciting thing about these new wheels, which they've got different tires on.
Right,
Yeah.
different type,
How
and
fun
there's
is
different
that?
the different brand tires, front and rear.
Yeah.
It's super. It's like something I
Man.
would do.
It's going to take the
Uh,
world by storm.
so there was something that we talked about a few months ago where we were talking about like maybe ins- maybe microtransactions from your drops is a way to get rid of my 30 something million drops that I like. I spent these couple millions to pick these wheel sets up yesterday, whatever it was. Um, and yeah, I think that one of the things that we mentioned was, maybe you have consumables. Maybe you throw a new pair of tires on when you race that cost, 100,000 drops or whatever.
Now, this is only good if it links in with the testing results from bicyclerolling-resistance.com.
Yeah.
Oh God, then everyone's going to have TPU latex inner tubes, like something you can't even fucking see in game that you can pay drops for. Like this like anyway, let's do the thing that actually is going to get like controversial. Now we've moved away from microtransactions. The rate of progress of roads.
Not
Yay!
Craig,
fast enough.
you've got the browser lined up, have you, Craig?
I do have the browser lined up. I'm looking at it right now. Actually, I can share it with everyone, so everyone's looking at it just in case somebody isn't.
Not you on the podcast though. We will describe a chart to you with
We
error
will
bars.
describe the chart to the podcast.
Geek.
Although when I post it on the herd forum, or herd racing forum, I will link the chart as well. But I mean, there's nothing in this. This chart looks pretty linear, and it's kind of fallen off a little bit in the past 2 years, 3 years, 3 years.
2 years since the beginning of 2023, basically.
I'd say it's fallen off since late 21.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the late 21. It was, yeah, there was a, what do we want to call it?
Gap.
There was a big
Yeah.
gap. So
Almost
from
all
late
of those
21
years.
to late 22, there were no new roads. And then there was Urukazi, then Scotland, and then yeah, there's Repack Rush, but that was a slight negative as it replaced oh god,
Repack Ridge.
Repack Ridge,
Ripped
which was
them off.
actually slightly longer, yeah. And then we got the Southern Coast, the Grade, Jervis Island, and now the France cobbled expansion. I would say so. Yes, the rate at which they're adding new kilometers of road or new miles of road, depending on where you live, it has dropped off. But the last few expansions, they focused more on adding routes by adding connectors so you can use existing roads better. So yeah, I'm not. I know everybody. The intent of creating this chart and publishing it is to make people mad. The later rate of new roads is going down, but I think what they're doing with the new roads on the last few expansions, the Southern Coast, the Grade, and the cobbled expansion especially. Jervis is different in its own thing. I would say those are more effective new roads than a lot of the other things were.
Well, the other thing they did with the Jarvis and the Southern Coast was they added sprint segments into Watopia, which really only had the two. I mean, Fuego Flats, sort of, I guess, too. I guess that was a sprint. But, right, I mean, Jarvis had two sprints, two ways, right? And then the Southern Coast had four sprints doubled, so 8 new segments. I never really noticed how few sprints the Watopia had before that.
Hmm. Yeah, certainly compared to McCurry in France.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that we were joking beforehand. I think the Jarvis is actually quite good roads, but was massively overhyped. Um,
Yeah.
whereas the Graydon Southern Coast, I think added quite a lot of road and some really good racing, some really different routes around there, which are like actually all quite enjoyable, aren't they? And that was, I think that was underhyped. I'm not sure. Hyped's the right amount.
I'm gonna make a potentially controversial statement that I'm not even sure I believe, and we'll see what you guys think. So the rate of new roads and new kilometers has gone down, but I do think maybe the quality has gone up. That like the vibes of each of the like the art quality, the variability, and the types of things surrounding the roads might all be better in the newest stuff than in like say the Richmond roads or some of the stuff for like Innsbruck, Richmond,
France.
but some of the older stuff, which they were doing a lot of. So I was talking earlier, like in the first year that I was riding on Zwift, we got Innsbruck, Fuego Flats, Bologna, Titans Grove, Yorkshire, Crit City, all within that 1 year, which set me up to think like, oh, okay, like
New
we're
stuff.
really going to be
It's
getting
time.
new stuff all the
Yeah.
time. Like this is really cool. There's going to be new stuff to be riding. And since then, there's only been another, 170K over almost 5 years. Um, but if I think about what's actually around, I think all of those roads are really good, but what's around those roads is actually kind of boring in terms of like the vibe. Where maybe the newer stuff since about Neokio, Urakazi, Scotland, and then the Southern Coast, the Grade, Jarvis, and the Cobbled expansion are all pretty cool in terms of like what got added.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Those routes are awesome for people who just want to ride around and look at stuff.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, the artwork on those is terrific. Um, although
Like
I'd
I
say,
think that the Southern Coast roads are some of my favorite roads in the whole game.
yeah,
Like in terms of what's going on around there.
yeah. Although I'd say I really like Richmond too. Like the refresh they did on Richmond when so I think they added a couple connectors at that point. I can't remember, but they refreshed the artwork on Richmond in. Sorry, let me go
It was
back.
the beginning of 2020.
Yeah, very beginning of 2020. Yeah, that Richmond is really nice too. I really like Richmond. I think Richmond is both a great race course and really nice for just riding around. So yeah, but yeah, I think everybody really wants more of what we got actually in the last couple of years. They want more of those connectors and make more ways to use the roads we've got and get from point A to point B without going through that piece that this guy might not like or that guy does like or whatever. Yeah, make more options and permutations and etc.
The
Yeah,
major from the Richmond refresh was the ability to U-turn. So outside of the gate,
Yeah.
Right, you could go backwards. Yeah.
it's it's interesting. I wonder if there was sort of a culture shift too, somewhere just post-pandemic, because if you look between like Innsbruck and Paris, like there were a lot of like, we're gonna take some KML files and we're gonna drop them in and we're gonna build some stuff around it that looks reasonably realistic to what is actually there. And
Yeah.
then since then it's been all Mercurian, proto Scotland and France, and it hasn't gone that like, oh, we're gonna do the 2016 worlds or the 2000, I'm not sure what it was, 18 worlds. What, they're not doing the real world routes any longer after what,
That sponsorship thing, are they not in bed with the UCI? Is it because My Whoosh sponsors UCI? So
I'm not sure. I mean, they've certainly, I think the last year and a half has been a lot more, right? They've dropped all these sprint segments in, they've added interesting climbs to Watopia. Not that the Alp isn't interesting, although I haven't done it in a long time. It's not that interesting to me, obviously.
I think it's mostly just a difference in strategy. So
Yeah.
people are already, a lot of the people who cycle, they're either already on Zwift or at least they've already seen it. They know that it exists. So make it good. Um,
Mhm.
you can ride the World Championship course. That's a great way to make somebody who's never heard of it say, "Hey, that sounds interesting. Maybe I'll try it." Where now it's about, let's make the experience good. And that's really more what I think has happened over the past 2, 3 years, more than the things that they can put into a press release that will make people kind of pay attention to it.
that
It's
that was going to
actually
be
good.
my semi-controversial take, which I don't know if is controversial. I am much happier with them working on the game than I am with them working on new roads for the game. That makes sense. So if they went away for 6 months and said, if by the end of this year they're like, there's no new roads, but we've got in-game live scoring,
Yeah.
like,
That,
or
that's better. Yeah, 100%.
yeah,
Or, take all the functionality that's separate in Zwift Power and make it more integrated with Zwift and the Zwift app and the Zwift website.
which we
100%.
think is happening. Like we did, I think
They've
that's what they're trying to do.
they've said it's happening over and over and over again, but we haven't seen anything yet.
So on the Discord, the ZwiftRacing.app Discord, the developer mentioned that their goal is September
Yeah.
to actually have something released for that. But
And that's their
again,
major, like that
They've had goals
Northern
a lot of
Hemisphere.
times.
what was that,
Northern
Steve?
Hemisphere come back in September, doesn't it? Really, like numbers are down now. Like
Yeah.
they might go up again Tour de France, but really it's September, October is when numbers come back in,
Yeah.
when it starts raining. Steph solidifies back out of the puddle that he's become in his kitchen due to the heat wave, like the Terminator in Terminator 2.
Well, and how do people feel about they've been really, I don't know, diligence probably an overstatement, but they've been working little by little on sort of optics and how things look, and like up over the epic. And I know it doesn't really matter when you're racing because your vision's blurred and your head's down and you're not looking at the screen that much other than looking for a number that you don't want to see. But it seems like they've been doing a lot of that sort of visual refresh stuff. And certainly like the Southern Coast, like you say, Sean, like that's got some stunning visuals in it. And I think for like group rides, or if I'm going to just jump on and do a workout, like, yeah, I need something to look at rather than, no offense to Richmond or London, but I need something to look at that isn't just some buildings and people raising their arms.
So, all right then, super quickly. I don't think we've got any more news, have we, Craig? But does that move us on to round the horn? I think it
It
does.
does.
I've got a two-part round the horn. I think a very super quick round the horn. if we can add roads to Zwift, what would we add? I think for me, it's going to be a connector between Paris and France. But also, if they added the Olympic climb up to Montmartre, that would be amazing.
Mm,
Uh, in that combined world.
Yeah.
maybe that connects them. You go up to the top of Montmartre and you go into a cafe. And
I think my quick version of this would be so they've just done a little bit of expansion to France, which means maybe they could do some more. I think adding you go down the coast a little more, call it Monaco, and do the Monaco Grand Prix like F1 course.
Yep.
Well, Paris-Nice has got quite a nice climb at the end of it as well. Like that south coast of France, there's some interesting climbs.
Well, that's like the Montreal F1 course is a spot you can go ride. When they aren't doing F1, obviously. But other than it, I don't know if it's a great Zwift race course. I think it's just too flat.
Did any of you do James Bailey? We tried out, I think it was RGT that did the like map any map as a
Yes.
race, and we did Spa Francorchamps as a race, and like it fell down on the fact that it's just like there's a bush, there's the same bush, there's the same bush, there's the same bush. Like I can't really recognize that this is the racetrack. Like it's yeah.
Spa would be a really amazing like bike race course.
It is, yeah.
Hard race
I've
course.
seen people riding it. It's tough.
Lots of elevation and yeah.
Yeah. I think the next thing I want from Zwift is a few more of those connector roads. So, connect from, what do they call it? The Epic bypass. So stay on that side and connect over to somewhere down in the neighborhood of the Sasquatch Sprint or down along the coast there. Connect to the coast roads without going back over the bridges. So that might be interesting. And so there's some elevation change from that point to where it comes down from the turnaround at the end of Tempest Fugit too. So, that there might be some flat and then a climb or however they want to play that. That could be interesting. And then, there's another couple connector roads that they could do a second way up a couple of the big climbs. Was, another, it would be fictional way up the Zwift or one of
But
the.
there's a gravel route up Alpe to Zwift you could put in that.
Was about to say
Oh yeah.
technically you can go from three sides up to Alpe d'Huez, sort of in real life.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So, sure, add one of the other real ones, but make it come up from Jarvis or something. Yeah. So I think that would be interesting because it lets you do some of the real epic kind of routes that have multiple climbs up the same mountain. Yeah. Which,
Yeah, John,
most of us are only going to ever do once, but it's cool.
Steph, John, anything you'd check in quickly?
Yeah, I think what we mentioned about them not adding extra worlds, but yeah, improving on small tidbits to exist in the bigger worlds, and like Craig said, some connector roads. Yeah, that
I
bypass.
think it's been said.
Nice one. So, well, I've proposed around the horn on the fly in the chat here, but as the summer equinox has happened, winter is coming in the Northern Hemisphere. So,
Shush,
the
shush.
the days we have to go outdoors and enjoy biking before we're hoping that the shed or wherever we go in Zwift isn't too cold, are numbered. So, yeah, if we got any fun plans, what we doing with the outdoors? Sean, you mentioned the crit. Let's start with you.
Yeah, so I'm still I'm excited about this race, but I'm also on the fence still a little bit. So there is a an annual 4th of July crit here in the town that I live in. Uh, I would be racing the Cat 4-5 uh, like beginner races. And I could potentially race twice because there's an open age group 4-5 race, and then like 3 hours later, there's a 35 plus like masters race. The there are a few people that I've talked to who have raced some crits. So Foster Boone is on my ladder team. I was talking with him last night, and he was like, "Yeah, I was racing some crits in Boston a few years ago, and the first race that I did, like, saw somebody die, and like every time I race, there's a bunch of people crashing and breaking bones." So I'm probably still gonna do it because I'm fit and it's in my town. Um, but yeah, so starting with the crit, and hey, maybe I'll really like it and just start racing crits outside all summer. Uh, the I think my other question is how would you? So I have 8 days, 7 days. It's in a week. Uh, I have raced up until yesterday. I've had 4 weeks of really good training, and am performing at a level that is like up with my kind of all-time peaks. What would you do over the next week to be ready?
So I'm going to say two things. One, I am terrified of racing on road bikes. Um, so I race in BMX that we jump over stuff, contact is allowed, and I am terrified of racing on road bikes.
Because
Um, Speeds are even higher, and you're racing in groups, and both I haven't done it, so I don't know what people are doing, and I don't trust other people. In BMX, I'm expecting other people to do stupid things. People are trying to, if some people are trying to cut you off and you're ready for it because it's allowed. Um, there's so much, there's so much trust of people that are trying to beat you. I don't I know there's a thing you're supposed to do and everybody's supposed to do and you're expecting. I don't know it, and I think if I were to do it, I'm probably stronger than I should be and likely to cause problems. And even if I'm not the cause of a problem, I'm probably not going to react to a problem correctly. And really bad things can happen. And you're not wearing protective gear like you are in BMX.
yeah,
So for starters, that's that. Like I am terrified of trying a crit. Um, Second, as far as the last week before a race, you can't do anything to make yourself better between now and
nope.
then. You can do a lot to make yourself worse. Don't.
Yeah, no, so my current plan is aerobic rides over the weekend, just like endurance stuff, but like not even a lot, just like an hour and a half rides. And
Yep.
then in the last like couple of days, maybe Wednesday, do a workout, get my legs woken back up, and yeah.
Uh, Based on a lot of the things I've been listening to recently, I wouldn't worry anything about training. Make sure you have a lot of sleep. Make sure you're well fed. Make like really boring prep. I don't know how long the crit is, but make sure you've got drinks ready. Make sure you've got a
Only half an
gel.
hour.
All of those
Hmm.
boring things like sleep, rest, feed, like that's going to deliver. Like Craig says, you're not going to get any better between now and then. But I'd be doing the same as usual on light aerobic work. I might try and do a like something that's got a hard 5 minutes in it, just to kind of check that my legs feel like they've got a hard 5 minutes in them for the start. But I'm similar to Craig. Like I have this with sportifs in the UK. Like I'm really anti big group sportif rides in the UK because I've discovered there are a lot of people who are very fit and can go very fast on a road bike and have never ridden a road bike very fast in a group before. And that is
I'm one of
scary.
them.
It's like there are people who are very fast and very untrained, and it's like you are super unpredictable, um, and also kind of get spooked quite easily. And like it's how you respond when you're spooked. Like I don't know how many guys, if you guys have done like reasonably big group rides, but you can ride side by side with somebody, you can elbow them, you can lean on them quite a lot. Like you don't fall over because you're all going the same speed and you can sort of push against the other person. Like that's okay. Like, but if someone responds in a bad way to that, like you're all going down in a pile of lycra.
How
So
many people are, yeah, are there, do you think there'll be on these different categories?
Probably, I would guess that the race will probably be about 40 or 50 people.
Hmm. Yeah,
No, I mean, honestly, Sean, it sounds fun.
Yeah.
yeah,
You are like, in a lot of ways, you're fast enough that a lot of people that are going to cause problems are going to be behind you.
One would
So
hope.
you can only hope. But
I
yeah,
have
try
looked
not
into
to.
it, and from what I've heard, even Cat 4-5 in Northern California is like a Zwift B race.
Yeah. Yep.
that makes sense though. Like I think if you're gonna do a crit race, I think you're already taking riding bikes quite seriously. So the people I know in the UK that kind of start racing at kind of our age are people who are probably like around B, that kind of level. Good
Yep.
C's.
Yeah. And I mean, I in a flat race, I'm probably a B. So
Depends which way the wind's blowing, really, because we have
absolutely.
established you are a sail as well. So
This
Well,
is, I think that what's likely to happen is everyone realizes just get behind that guy.
so Sean, I'll actually say, in my experience, in real life, that there is far less disadvantage for you being tall than there is in Zwift.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that there's that for sure.
As long as I'm in the
yeah.
drops.
Well, as long
Oh no, I
as
don't.
you're in a
I
reasonable
think
position. Yeah.
I think the draft is massively exaggerated in Zwift, and I think it's because Zwift assumes every rider has perfect aero. And I brought people before about like how well your kit fits, whether you're clean shit, like all the marginal gains that the Pro Tours do to like make sure that they are as aero as possible. It assumes you have done as an amateur, and most amateurs do that really badly. So
I think this leads to my maybe last question about it, and I think I already know the answer, but which herd kit should I wear?
Oh, that's the question.
Ooh.
what are your options?
The regular herd,
Blue, green, yeah.
the blue green, the pink and blue, and the black and red. And I
I think
think
there's a lot of blues and greens and blacks in other kits. I think you've got to go pink and blue for visibility. Like,
I
I
was
mean, I know
about to
there's
say
probably there's a foot of height that gives you visibility as well. I still remember the photo. I think it's of you and Chris riding where you look like you're the same distance from the camera, and then you realize Sean is a few bike lengths behind.
also
I was
yeah,
leaning toward the herd racing kit because it's actually tight. Like it
Yeah.
That
actually is aero.
Yeah.
that
So
too, but
So,
Yeah,
so
you
there's a
see a
big
lot.
part of fit there, yeah. So if that's the one that fits you best, go for it. That's cool. Actually, that's a great thing, Sean. Yeah, I admire your bravery in going for that.
Put it in the comments, folks. Tell us what kit you think Sean should wear. I think we put it to the public vote, Sean. Most votes wins on that one. Anyone else up to anything fun over the summer? I have a small child, so if I get out and do a bike ride outside, that'll be my victory. But yeah, anyone else? Any fun events planned as the nights draw in?
Well, I mean, tomorrow
Yeah,
is the Great Wiffle Ball Challenge, but my brother
uh,
does a wiffle ball tournament every year, so that'll be fun.
It's not on
And
bikes, Craig. We don't care unless you're playing wiffle ball on a bike.
that sounds fun, but no. Uh, and yeah, I'm traveling most of the way across Canada to do Canadian Championships on my BMX bike in
That is on a
August.
bike.
Yeah.
We'll allow it. When's that, Craig?
Late August. So, yeah.
Nice. How about you, Steph? You've been doing some pretty big rides. You did a metric century last year, I think. Was that this year you did your first one?
Imperial Century, Metric Centuries.
Sorry,
I've done
yes.
some. Yeah,
Yeah.
I done recently my first Metric Century or of the year, so 160K ride. So yeah, it's going good. Thought last few weekends a bit less because its temperatures are around the weekends around 30 degrees, which is preferable. When I did the Metric Century, it was a nice 20 degrees Celsius. So, but yeah, keep that going. I have 2 weeks in a couple of weeks. I have 2 weeks off. Not currently haven't booked anything, but probably something in there cycling related. Maybe go to the mountains for a week and do some climbing like I usually do. And about when Craig mentioned this wiffle ball, I was thinking that was a colloquialism for something sports ball related, but it's it's the end. It's the actual term of it. Okay, didn't even know what it was, but yeah, no. Like I said, enjoy Zwift racing, but yeah, during the summer months when it's longer and better weather outside, I'm usually doing couple of hour rides, long 3 to 6, 7 hour rides, if endurance rides on the weekend by
Nice. And
myself.
John, I've not made the joke enough, but you're retired now. So
Indeed.
I
Yeah.
imagine you only cycle in perfect conditions, so you might end up cycling less.
Yeah, maybe. I won't be doing it on the weekends. I found like certain things on the weekends are just right out because the traffic just is not worth it. But yeah, there's a great old abandoned railroad gravel ride. You end up going through like a 2 mile long tunnel. Haven't done it in years, so I'm gonna go check that one out. I just did a hike up that area earlier this week, and that was or late last week. It was a blast, and I'd forgotten how pretty it is up there. So that's on the list, and yeah, other things as my whims direct me.
Oh, that sounds awesome. What a nice ride to finish on. So, well, hope everyone enjoys their rides this weekend. And I think with that, we'll say moo and good night, everyone.